This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, I'm going to call to order the meeting of the Southampton Select Board for June 4th, 2024 at 6:01 p.m. If we could start by standing and saying the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have any open speak, people that are here for other than something that's on the agenda? Not seeing anyone for that reason. All right. Technically, we're supposed to open this hearing at 6:05. Do I really need to wait for 4 minutes?
Let's adjust the time frame.
It's within the window.
Just make sure we close it after 6:05.
There we go. I think we can manage that. All right. Okay. I would like to open up a public hearing for Eversource for a poll hearing. Could we have a motion to open up the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, so we are here tonight for a public hearing, and I'll read the notice that was posted here. The Southampton Select Board will hold a hearing at 6:05 p.m. on June 4th, 2024 in the Town Hall first floor meeting room located at 210 College Highway on the petition by N-Star Electric Company doing business as Eversource Energy, requesting permission to install poles, wires, cables, and fixtures, including the necessary sustaining and protecting features along and across the following public way. Location: install one jointly owned pole east of existing pole 14/50 in town taking. Reason: to install a new pole clear of a new driveway with newly installed overhead wire to another new pole to be set on customer property at 120 East Street. Wherefore it prays that after due notice and hearing as provided by law, let it be granted that a location for and permission to construct and maintain a pole, wires, and cables, together with such sustaining and protecting features as they may find necessary, said pole to be erected substantially in accordance with the field plan herewith and made a part hereof marked 811-31916. Also for permission to lay and maintain underground laterals, cables, and wires in the above or intersecting public ways for the purpose of making connections with such poles and buildings as each of said petitioners may desire for distributing purposes. Your petitioners agree to reserve space for one crossarm at a suitable point on each of said poles for the fire and police telephone signal wires belonging to the municipality and used by it exclusively for municipal purposes. N-Star Electric Company, DBA Eversource. Okay. All right, so with that, do we have someone from Eversource here that would like to address us? Please come on up to the mic, introduce yourself, and...
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Brandon, representing Eversource tonight for 120 East Street. From my end, this is pretty straightforward. There's already existing infrastructure on the street to accommodate new customers that are building on those lots at 120 to avoid aerial trespass on the other lots that are there. I'm petitioning to add a pole basically in between the two existing poles so that we can come off of the existing infrastructure and service the new house that's there, and then have the ability to come off of the new pole that we've already placed on that customer's property to feed the other two lots when they become construction ready.
Okay. So this is adding a pole, it's not taking down the two existing poles whatsoever?
No,
those
we're
are just
right in the middle, kind of on that corner of the street.
Okay. Everybody see the map that was in your...
Yeah, I'd like to take a look. Thank you.
Yep. And I don't think we're dealing with anything out of the ordinary here in terms of, nice photograph. There we go. Nice visual.
Wow.
So looking at that picture there, you're talking about the current development.
And
on the
halfway
right-
down?
On the right-hand side. Will that also take care of the development that's going to be behind those houses?
I believe it's down on the corner
Yeah.
a little bit more. The house is already,
Yeah, there's like
It's
two lots,
already
and they
built.
left the space for a road to go back.
I
for the
believe
third
it
property.
might be the next span.
So is that the new pole that's been, another pole that's been put in there, or that's an existing pole? Okay.
So yeah, that one right where the person's walking or
Yep.
bicycling, in between those two is where the pole's going, and then there's 3 building lots that you drive down there on the right-hand side, there's already a house that's ready to go.
And adding this single pole will take care of the power for all 3 of those.
Yes.
How is that going to take?
Sure.
How will that, I'm Kevin Canton. I'm-
Yeah, come on up to the mic. Yeah, introduce-
First lot coming down,
Yeah.
how will we reach the first lot from a pole further up the street? Where would the power come?
Down that direction?
No, this direction. You're saying between these 2 poles that we.
Yeah, because,
see? Yeah.
yes, the new driveway is right on this side of
This
the
side of the
pole,
pole,
correct.
correct.
So you guys own the front one that's right there?
We're on the front one to the
Yes.
right of the driveway.
So we can come off at any point from that pole there, or
The new
the one that's, or the new one, or the one that's over there. The new one is for
That's going to be further up before that.
that, for the house that's already built, so that we didn't aerial trespass the driveway, because when the builders were there, they said that that was a shared common,
It's a common drive.
Access,
That piece
yeah.
that's in between. The driveway is actually owned by a third party, not us or that house.
Mm-hmm.
So we would want to have power coming from down the street and across.
yeah, and
Okay.
when you guys are ready and your electrician pulls a work order with me, I can meet you guys out there and figure out the best way to electrify your new house, so.
Okay. Sir, could you come on up to the mic? You need to be.
Oh.
up to-
Go ahead.
People are watching at home, wanting to know what's going on. Yeah. So this is the Cantons, I'm sure, that must be at 120 East Street.
You're
is
going
that
out
right?
live.
Yeah, you're live now.
No, I just wanted to be sure if the owner of the lot that we own now wanted to go underground cable, they could do that, even though there's a pole, they can go from the pole and put their wires
The new
underground.
pole that we set, you can, if you get permission from whoever, the third lot, I believe, to go underneath the
Under the-
driveway.
Yeah,
Then that's something we could do, or we could come right off the street and do kind of the same thing we're doing here for you, is set a pole that's within the town taking, that abuts your lot, or even come into your lot privately, so we can, you know, we wouldn't have to petition the town at that point, but
okay.
that's something that we can discuss, you know, when you're construction ready. Yep.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions about this?
Pretty clear to me.
Okay. All right. Could we take a vote, please?
Take a motion to close the public hearing.
Yes?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make
Okay.
a motion to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, second by Dan. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
It's approved.
Yes.
Thank you.
Enjoy your night.
Thank you very much.
You guys don't want to stay?
But I told you it was going to be cookies.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay, thanks, folks. We haven't done a poll hearing in a while. That was a relatively easy one, comparatively to some that we've had in the past. All right, so we have an agenda night with a few, just to say that we have several appointments to various committees where people have been appointed and will be expiring at the end of June. And so this will be a first batch of some appointments, reappointments, and then there'll be, at our next meeting or two, we'll probably have some more and try to catch everybody who is due to expire, whose terms are due to expire, and who wants to continue to be of service on the committee that they are currently with. So with that, could we start off, John, you want to take off a few
Yeah,
of
if
these?
there's no objection, can I lump them together by groups?
Sure.
Sure, let's do
Departments,
that.
all right. So the
Let's
first
do that.
one, motion to accept the resignation of Doric Dodds, Greenway Community, effective immediately.
Okay, motion by John, second by Dan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right.
The Building Department, motion to approve Ron Lauren, Building Commissioner, term to expire June 30th, 2025. Thomas Quinlan Jr., Building Commissioner alternate, term to expire June 30th, 2025. Walter Merrick, Building Commissioner alternate, term to expire June 30th, 2025. Thomas Sears, Inspector, Plumbing and Gas, term to expire June 30th, 2025. Anthony Lundgren, Inspector, Plumbing and Gas alternate, term to expire June 30th, 2025. James Fisher, Inspector, Electrical, term to expire June 30th, 2025. And Dan Melux, Inspector, Electrical alternate, term to expire June 30th, 2025.
Okay, we have a motion for all the building department-related ones. Could we have a second, please? Was that a second?
No, I have a question.
Oh, second.
Second.
Second, Dan, okay, for discussion?
I have a question. So generally, these all fairly automatic unless one of the incumbents decides to leave their position, or how are they reviewed in terms of performance and other factors? Are they ever reviewed?
The first part of your question is, for example, Ron Lauren, he's our permanent commissioner. The other two are merely appointed in the event Ron is unavailable or on vacation.
Yeah.
They're sitting commissioners in other towns, and the same would apply for, Mr. Sears is our primary inspector, but Anthony, who sits in another community, we have to name him so that when Thomas is on vacation, Anthony can come in and perform the work. I would think the named employee supervises and recommends to the town administrator to reappoint their alternates through them.
And the main
I don't
person-
know about annual evaluations.
Yeah,
for
the main
two
person that
employees.
would report to the town administrator is Ron Lauren.
Okay,
He's the
so
head of the department.
this is process question only. So I know Ron is brand new, and I mean, not Ron, but Scott is brand new. So at some point, is Scott asked to review anything regarding, specifically the one person is Ron, or what's the process there?
Those that are direct reports to the town administrator will have performance standards and a performance evaluation done by the town administrator. So that would be Ron, not any of these others.
Yeah, so only Ron, yeah, so that's been done.
Since he's been here, or
No.
traditionally?
Fair,
No.
to ask him to have done it since he's been.
No, I would not say that it's been done. I would not guarantee that it was done under the previous administrator.
Okay. Okay, that's the answer. Thank you.
Can't tell you that it was done. I don't know. I've
I see.
never seen it. There are rules and regulations in our personnel handbook about how personnel evaluations are to be done and when they're supposed to be done.
Sure.
So that's something I'm sure
Okay.
Scott will be getting on top of and recognizing who he's got to have evaluations done for. I know some were done probably before Ed left, but I don't know that Ron was done. I have no idea.
I need to go on record because it's a public meeting that I don't have any specific issue. This is just a process question.
Understood. All right, so I think we have a motion and a second. Could we have a vote, please? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay.
Veterans Office, motion to approve Michelle Murdoch, Veterans Service Officer, term to expire June 30th, 2025, and William Wells, Veterans Grave Officer, term to expire June 30th, 2025.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Dan. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
A standalone, motion to approve Sierra Simmons, Community Preservation Committee, Housing Authority Representative, term to expire June 30th, 2025.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public Safety Group, motion to approve Ian Illingsworth, Public Safety Building Committee, term to expire June 30th, 2027. Richard Fosoli, Public Safety Building Committee, term to expire June 30th, 2027. Charles Kanicki, Public Safety Building Committee, term to expire June 30th, 2026.
Okay, have a
Second.
second? Second by Dan. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right.
And there's a correction on this next one. Motion to approve Charles Kanicki, Associate Zoning Board of Appeals Member, term to expire June 30th, 2026.
Okay,
Second.
all right. All those in favor?
What's the- what's
Aye.
the, what's the associate part about? Is that,
There's 5 permanent members and then 2 associates that can fill in the event of a Members
Like
not there?
the Conservation Commission, they're allowed to have associate members, is that the idea?
Somewhat. I mean, this would be, if somebody either had to recuse themselves or was not able to be there, then the associate member can step in.
Is that according, from our bylaws, or where does the associate member?
It's from the
Is
state.
it bylaws or state law?
It's by
General laws,
Mass General law.
Zoning
Yeah.
boards of appeals can
Yeah,
have.
and Charlie has been the associate member
Cool.
currently. He's currently serving as the associate member.
Yeah, I just wanted to educate myself as to, I know some boards can have associates, some can't.
Correct. Yeah, Concom is one of the ones that has that in statute, as well as ZBA. Most others would have alternates, not associate members.
Thank you.
Okay.
And so just to clarify, it's specific, as Chris just said, to, in this case, zoning board of appeals, or in the other case, conservation commission. Doesn't apply, because I know this was looked at by planning board at some point.
Speak. Don't forget your mic.
Oh, I know, I was looking at you.
Yeah, I don't,
Yeah,
without looking at planning board's
Okay.
background, I don't know that offhand.
we'll just leave it with these.
Yeah,
Thanks.
okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion's approved for all of these appointments. Thank you very much. Okay, let's jump to some report. Scott, your report, if you'd like to share some things with us here?
Just a few things. So next week, we're going to be meeting with the DOT to do site visits for the Greenway and the Safe Streets out of Norris School. This will be the 5th time that we've scheduled it, so I'm not sure if it'll actually go through because of weather. So it's been months in the making at this point.
Yeah, they keep scheduling it on the day that it chooses to rain, yeah.
And then we should be having, picking out the new van tomorrow, finally, after a few months from Marcotte Ford. Principal Pluta and her van driver are going to be speccing it out, so we're going to move forward with that. I met with the Water Commission last week to talk about their recruitment and retention of employees and compensation. We're planning our first hazard mitigation plan meeting probably the week of the 21st, so we're going to get that going. And the College Highway purchase and sale, that's been forwarded to the seller's attorney. We hope to have a closing date by the 30th, but that can be moved up.
30th of?
September 30th, but that can be moved up once all the, assuming it's past the 25th and the title work and all that stuff's done sooner. So we just want to give ourselves enough time for all that to be done.
Okay. And any other thoughts and comments, questions for Scott? I know we were also busy chasing down some other grant-related efforts, and that's taking up a bit of time, just making sure that we have all the paperwork in the right direction for various reports and contracts and so forth, so. Okay. All right. If nothing else for Scott, we know he's going to be back on the agenda shortly, so we'll have further notification on things here, but let's go to any select board reports. Anybody, Dan, have anything in particular?
I think the most important one is talk about the housing authority, having the chance to walk the property across from Cumberland Farms with wayfinders to talk about possibilities for affordable housing in town. So that was a fruitful and productive time. So I want to make sure I mention that. Planning board is meetings canceled this week, and I don't think we've had a meeting since the last time we spoke. Conservation Commission has met. I wonder if there's anything to note for this board. Nothing comes to my mind. Technology Committee hasn't met since the last time we met, and those are the ones that I see for now.
Okay, and where are you with the tech survey? That was from the tech committee? Is that
Oh,
still
right.
ongoing?
Good point. Yeah, that's still going on. Thank you. So there was on the town website, there was posted a survey about learning a little bit more about the fiber that we're trying to get in town and what people currently have for internet service providers, and understanding more about what the options may be and what people would anticipate for pricing for any fiber options that we're looking to get implemented.
Okay, good. All right. I'm going to hop to the other side. John, anything on your side?
Yep, we're very active with the schools. We have a public hearing tomorrow night, public interviews for 2 candidates, both of which hold doctorates in education. Both have experience, recent experience as a sitting superintendent, as well as, I believe, both of them have a minimum of 15 years of experience in the education system. That'll happen tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at the auditorium in Hampshire Regional. With any luck, we can get 4 out of the 5 communities to agree on a single candidate and name the superintendent that night, and then get things going. I don't have any update on the business administrator up there, nor any update on the closing of the books. I've been focused on the superintendent search. Local school committees next week. PPP is tomorrow night, special emergency meeting to address a highway issue, and I don't think I've been to any other meetings.
Okay. And just on the superintendent, is that an interim superintendent? Or
No, this
is
will be a permanent superintendent.
They've changed from, weren't they going to go with an interim superintendent? Or,
So we engaged the services of the Massachusetts Association of School Committees, and we did an initial search, and that resulted in 7 applicants, of which 5 did not meet the minimum requirement that we posted.
oh, well,
We used a lot of requirements instead of preferred. That has got us down to 2 candidates. At that time, we were advised to switch to an interim, restart the search in September. Both candidates would hold on. And the reason being is you cannot take 2 candidates into executive session, screen, and report one out. In essence, you've done the search. So you had to have a minimum of 3 people. We didn't have that. So we switched over to the interim. We tried to go down that route. We had a qualified candidate come forward, but after several weeks, we were unable to reach a compromise on the overall contractual obligations. So the school committee voted to cease that, pick up the 2 candidates after confirming they were both interested, and just move straight into a public hearing. They both had to agree to be named. Normally, that wouldn't happen.
Right,
So now, everything we were going to do in executive session is now going to be done in the open,
oh, okay.
which I would argue is going to be more transparent. It's going to be live streamed.
Yeah, okay.
So-
And that is tomorrow?
Tomorrow night, 6 o'clock.
Okay, all right. For those who are interested, follow along. All right, good. Cindy, anything from your committee?
Actually not. The Board of Assessors has not met again since the last time I reported. The Open Space Committee has not met again since the last time I reported, nor has the Public Safety Building Committee, which I realize you're the liaison for, but I'm also on it. So I really don't have anything new to say to you.
Okay, we don't need to belabor that, and I'll just make a motion to, mention rather, of the Grants Committee. We're still working on the grant for the Bruin Historical Grant for the repointing of the mortar at the old town hall, and that one is due on June 14th. And one of the things that will be required, if everybody would approve me doing that, is a letter of support from the Select Board for the grant. We've asked the Historical Commission and the Police Chief to put in a letter of support, but it would be good to have one from the Select Board as well, just to authorize us to, or support for the grant, which is essentially about a $90,000 grant to keep doing historical preservation, and we have to be very careful of the standards that are required by the Department of the Interior as well as the National Park Service. So it requires special matching of the mortar that was there and all sorts of things and how it's applied, et cetera, et cetera. But we've got some technical people helping us out with that, and hopefully we can make a good case for it. We're one of 16 that has been invited to put in for the application. And I think they will probably end up giving about 6, maybe 7 grants total. So our chances are 50-50-ish, maybe. But I would like it if anybody would be so willing to authorize me to write a letter of support.
Which grant is this again?
It's called Bruin Historical.
Burns?
Bruin, B-R-U-H-N, and it's going to be managed by Pioneer Valley Planning Commission, but it's actually a grant through the National Park Service. So PVPC is actually the local manager of it.
So can I make a motion then to support that, to ask this Select Board to support via a letter that could be signed by our chairperson for this $90,000 grant as described by Chris?
Okay,
Second.
all right, second. All right, any discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you, okay. And then, yeah, other committees, so the Council on Aging Board will meet this week, the Public Safety Building Committee will meet next week on the 10th, and the Senior Center Building Committee met yesterday, and after their deliberations, I think we can share that they have decided that their new preferred site, given that Clark Street has fallen through, they also had a walkthrough with Stephen's guidance. And apparently these tours are quite good because everybody comes back enthused. But the Senior Center Building Committee was very amenable and very impressed with what could be a potential for a senior center on that site on College Highway. So they have voted to make that their new preferred choice. Okay, other than that, I don't think I have any other reports from committees. So let's move on to new business. Scott, so we have to sign the warrant for the special town vote on June 25th. You want to read the actual ballot question on that so that everybody can hear about it? We do have, just a note, we've got the small sandwich board sign out in front of Town Hall. We will have the Mothers Club sign up at the corner on Palmer Meadow. Thank you, Cindy, for arranging that. We'll have that as of the 16th, I believe, or I think it's the 16th of 14th or the 16th, one or the other, of June. And then if we could probably at some point, John, if you could make a note for the Lions Club, if they would not mind updating their sign out front as well, just to have the election on the 25th. But Scott, why don't you read the ballot question so everybody's aware?
16th.
Shall the town of Southampton be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2 1/2, so-called the amounts required to pay for the bond or notes issued in order to acquire the property located off College Highway containing 52 acres more or less, identified as Assessor's Parcels Map 19-141, Map 19-144, and Map 24-15, being the property described in a deed recorded with the Hampshire Registry of Deeds in Book 14641, page 304, for general municipal purposes, including all costs incidental and related thereto. Yes or no?
Okay, thank you. And the election will be June 25th here at Town Hall from noon until 8 p.m. I believe there will be mail-in ballots as well as in-person voting. There's no early voting, but mail-in or in-person will be happening. And we have a bit of information up on the town website already, and we'll be working on a few things tonight. Scott will discuss a little bit later on the agenda that will get some further information out that will answer some of the questions that people may have so that they've got correct information and don't make assumptions about things that may not be quite true. So bear with us as we pull that together, but that's our goal for the next few days to get that out. So we will have to sign that tonight before we leave. Okay, could we have a motion to approve signing the town warrant for the special town election?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. So we will be sure to sign that before we go. The next item is the signing and notarization of the Kestrel CR. If you remember last time we met, we had approved the conservation restriction on the Kestrel property for property up on Pomeroy Meadow, up on Pomeroy Mountain, and that just requires our signature. And so we'll just do that while we're circulating around. A couple of us has already.
Is that for Pomeroy Mountain? Or
Pomeroy Mountain, it's the one that was the CR that we did last week.
okay, I thought that was.
It's a CR from last time. Is it something new? It's not the purchase and sale.
No, I just didn't know it was Pomeroy Mountain.
Well, whatever, it's I'm calling it Pomeroy Meadow. It's the
one on Fulmer Road. That's why I'm questioning.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
There's a difference between Pomeroy Mountain and Fulmer
okay,
Road.
it's the Garfinkel property, is that?
Yes,
okay,
that's on Fulmer
okay.
Road. That's why I think it's got to be corrected.
Garfinkel Road. Yep,
because I know there was a delay on the other
I'm
one.
sorry, you're correct. It's the Garfinkel property up on Fulmer Road. Okay, very good. Thank you very much. So we had actually approved that last week. We just need to sign that paperwork for them. All right, easy enough. Now comes the hard part. Election of the board for the Select Board of Officers. We, at this point in time after the town elections, we usually take a look at reorganization and put forth our slate of who we would like to serve in whatever position here on the Select Board. So
I move the name Chris Fowles continues as chair for one more year.
Second.
Well, that was quick.
I move we close debate on this issue and clerk cast one ballot.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. You may continue, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair.
Well,
Okay, well, I appreciate the level of confidence in you, but in me, rather, but,
Are we doing this as a full slate? I've moved
now
that
she
we
can do
have-
the rest. Now she's empowered.
yeah, okay.
Well, I was going to move to have John Lumber be the vice chairperson.
All right, we have a, okay, so.
Second?
Motion for John as the vice chair, then. All those in favor, would you accept that, John?
Yes.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All
And
right,
Chris
very
Fowles,
good.
aye.
All right, next up, we have the warrant clerk, which currently is Stephen, signing all the payroll and vendor warrants. And since he's not here, I haven't heard that he objected to being nominated again, so. He seems to have done a good job about doing that, so I would nominate Stephen to continue being the warrant clerk unless he decides not to be when he returns to us. Okay, second by Dan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right. Then our last one is the actual clerk, which
I don't wanna do
currently
it.
is- Which is
I'm
currently.
bad at it.
Currently Dan, and basically this is for executive committee meeting minutes only, not the main meeting minutes from our select board. So that leaves one person. Cindy, how would you like to be the clerk for basically signing off and writing the notes
I
for
think
the
it's my time
executive
to
sessions?
take on some of this stuff, Dan, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so Dan, you want to make a nomination?
Yeah, can I please nominate Cindy Palmer to be the clerk for the select board?
Okay. Second, please.
Second.
All right, John, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, I wonder if it'd be prudent for us to, since there are 5 of us,
Yep.
to take the unnamed one so far and to try and avoid any summer issues, go ahead and name him as an alternate warrant signer
Yep,
Yeah.
that's good.
in the event that Stephen's not available.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Yeah, just in
And
case,
just make it part of the record.
right, that would be a good idea, so we don't have to do it at the last minute when somebody's out of town or
Well,
whatever.
if you want to nominate me, that's fine. I already live here at the town hall, so consequently, that's an option. Right, Scott?
Or, well, I mean, it usually requires somebody who's around during the day
Yeah.
to sign
That's right.
payroll warrants and whatever. So Dan, if you would like to do it, otherwise we might
Well, I
nominate.
don't want to take it away.
No, no, no. see,
Dan's the only one that doesn't have a role.
If you're, oh, yeah, roll. Well, you, no, if you're in town.
Was that your motion
seriously.
to make it Dan? or-
I'm happy, either one of you, just I think we
Yeah,
should
why
name
don't you do
somebody.
it?
Okay, I'll do that. That way I feel like
I
I'm
thought
doing
you-
something to help.
You just told me you
Yeah.
don't have to
It
go
would
to
be-
the
it would be
office
as-
very
yeah,
often.
it would be in case Stephen is out of town or something, and it
Yep.
happens to be a payroll week or a warrant, vendor warrant week, and you can work it out of time with Jen and Bradley to sign that.
I nominate Dan LaValle to be
Okay.
the alternate warrant clerk.
Okay. Second by John. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, good idea, John. Thank you very much. We've run into that problem in the past where somebody's out of town and all of a sudden we got to get things signed. So thank you. And I don't know with the new Vadar if this is going to be a similar kind of warrant process as we go forward. I mean,
I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit more streamlined,
yeah.
because this
okay.
is the,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would be nice if we get to the part where we implement DocuSign with it, like they do at the school, so the signer gets the whole packet, can review it, electronically sign it, and back it goes.
Yeah, possibility, once we'll, okay, so thank you for that, and thank you for your confidence in me continuing on as chair.
Of course.
We'll try to keep things rolling this year. So next up, Select Board Liaison Discussion and Assignments. So I handed out the current list of assignments that we have, and we had talked a little bit about, is there any committee on here that doesn't really need a liaison? Is there some other committee that should have a liaison?
Well, I think we need to mix it up because we got like a lot of places where Stephen and I are on the same stuff.
Correct.
So we're not gonna, we don't have coverage for other things like
Right.
have Joy's name against them now.
Right.
So like overlap on other ones. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. So I think the challenge is what we tried to do last year in order to streamline this. And again, I think way back when it might have been a liaison to actual departments, but then that left out anything that was happening at the committee level. So by instituting this, it at least allows people to hear firsthand what's going on in the various committees and report back to us. Two things that have come to mind. I think we've all been very diligent about trying to attend every meeting that we've been assigned to do. And maybe we could make that a little bit less strict, if you will, and just say maybe, 75% of the meetings, at least 75% of the meetings. I mean, I think it's really important to have that voice back from the committee level. Well, I mean, try to attend them if you can, but if you have to miss one, at least follow up, would read them in, read the minutes and know what's going on so that you can report back on it, even if you weren't at that meeting in particular. So with that, let's just take them one by one. So John, I'm going to go to my right here. So right now, I'm going to group these the way we have them, and then we can talk about what you'd like to do. So we have you right now on capital, finance, Hampshire Regional, Norris, and PPB.
And ZBA.
Yeah, and ZBA. I mean, ZBA honestly does not meet. I don't know. If there's one that I would probably
And I think-
take off as a liaison, it personally would be that one.
That's an associate position. Because when we ran into the issue 2 years ago,
Yeah,
we named a select board member
as an
as
associate.
one of the 2 associates.
That's correct. That is correct.
So that's right now, that's a voting seat.
I think it's an
Okay,
important
yeah.
liaison.
Well, it was only because we couldn't find somebody in the community to fill the role, and we had to have a vote.
So we need to check on when that, you're actually the associate member to ZBA as well. But we need to check on when that expires.
Yeah, it was June 30th, probably.
Okay, so we might have to check on that. So if you were if you were to be reappointed, then that would, sort of solve that liaison role.
I mean, my grouping makes sense. It's all the financial issues and then the
Right.
schools. But, we do need, later on, we're going to talk about, we need to find 2 people to do a 1-year term in Hampshire Regional. So
We'll talk about that as we go forward, yeah.
if it happens to be somebody sitting to my left, they could take over that committee.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, but these would be the liaison assignments. So unless you have any particular objection, these seem to be a good fit for you, John, in terms of both your skills and interest, and
Yep.
if that would be okay. So capital, finance, Hampshire Regional, Norris, and PQB remain with John. All right, Dan, how would you like to, we've got you down right now for planning and
Technology.
ad hoc tech.
I'm on Housing Authority
Yep.
and Conservation Commission right
Yep.
now.
So you're actually a member right now on Concom.
Yep, and I'm also a member on Planning Board.
And
but
planning.
That's where I'm saying, like, Stephen's also on the Planning Board, so I'm like, do we want to trade things or mix things up? I mean,
Yep. Well, how about?
as long as I'm doing my fair share.
Yeah,
it's all
no, I think, well, ad hoc tech, obviously, makes
Yep.
sense, and we'll keep that as a liaison one, too. I mean, what we tried to do, again, was to minimize the number of extra meetings people had to go to. If you were already a member of the committee, we tried to make you the liaison. It made
Makes sense.
the most sense.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
if you were ad hoc tech, Concom instead of Joy, okay?
Yep.
And then
There's,
Concom housing instead of Joy, because you're already a member.
Yep.
Right? Those are 3. So I guess another choice might be to pick up whether community preservation perhaps would be one.
community, where's that one? Yeah, I've never done that before. That'd be interesting.
It's not, they don't meet all the time.
Yeah, on a monthly basis, but not every month necessarily. It depends on.
Yeah, I guess
so-
that's the question. Is that something you're already on, or like? Okay, I just don't want to.
You'd actually be a liaison to that one. You wouldn't be a voting member on
Okay.
that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones, you're actually a member on that. So
Okay.
for now, let's see how this shakes out. But that
Can
would
I
put you.
question whether or not it's a liaison or a voting member? I've been to a few meetings where I think they voted, but that's the reason I raised that.
Most
even-
liaisons are not a voting
Okay.
position. If they have been nominated as a person from Select Board to be on the committee, then they would be a voting member. But a liaison is usually not.
Let the chairs know that then.
Yeah, usually not a voting member. So Dan, we'll have you on Concom, community preservation, housing, and, what did I miss?
Technology. Up top.
Oh, technology, there we go. Yeah, okay. All right, so then Cindy, you and Stephen can fight a couple things out. So let's assume Stephen will be on planning board because he's already, we'll swap him out for Dan, okay? So Stephen, does that make sense? He's on planning board already? All right.
He is a voting member of the Open Space
So he can also
Committee.
be the liaison. Yep. No, anybody who's a member can also be the liaison too. Yeah, sure. That makes sense. So open space and planning. I'm going to throw out maybe unless you're interested, Greenway Committee, only because it's tying in with our potential land acquisition area. That might be a good one for Stephen to follow through on. I know he's been we're following that. So that, right now, that gives him 3.
4, Board of Health and Assessors.
Okay, then up top. So that's the question for Cindy. So I'm just trying to figure out how we can split up.
Well, I am on the Board of Assessors.
You're on the Board of Assessors, so why don't we make that you? And then you have a choice there, other choices. So you've got Board of Health, you've got, what else was there? I'm missing something. Da-da-da.
And not with Stephen, but I'm agreeing to, if he wishes to relinquish it, to be the Board of Health liaison.
Okay.
I don't think he'll fight you on that one.
Okay, so Cindy, Board of Assessors and Board of Health.
And I'm already on the Open Space Committee.
Right, but we'll make
And,
Stephen the actual liaison on that one, though.
okay, that'd
Okay.
be fine.
So that leaves us with Master Plan, Public Safety, or Grants Committee, which doesn't really, I guess I would stick with Grants Committee.
Yes.
Maybe it's just those two for right now, Cindy, unless we're seeing something else here. I'm trying to get some level of equity here.
Okay,
Are we missing something?
it,
Public Safety Building Committee liaison?
well, I think you're valuable, Chris. I think you need to be on that right now.
Okay,
In that, and to be honest with you, I was actually thinking of, well, I'm thinking about what to do with
Okay.
that.
well, let's get through this for right now. So
Okay.
we'll have you for Assessors and Board of Health. That would leave me with the Grant Committee, which obviously makes sense, and Master Plan, which is obviously
You don't have,
where I've been. And then both on the COA Board and the Public Safety Building Committee would be,
I could,
I will stick with those if you
you
want.
want to keep with, okay. I was going to say, I've been attending the board meetings
Yeah.
of the COA, but you can continue, I'm on the Friends of the COA, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I think it's fine. I can manage those. They aren't very time-consuming in that regard.
There's two that I don't see on this list unless I missed it. You've mentioned them, and one's the cost efficiency
Yeah,
committee, and the
well,
other's the senior center building committee.
yeah, it kind of ties in with we didn't have a liaison for every committee, but we end up reporting to it anyway, because again, I'm on the senior center building committee and the
Right,
cost
right.
efficiency, so if there's anything, I just tend to report on it, but we weren't trying to have a liaison for every committee. We
Okay.
seem to have grown over time.
I see that, yeah.
That wasn't the original intent, but, so let's start with this for now, and then when Stephen comes back, we can double check and make sure that he's okay with that. So that, if I've got my numbers right, Stephen's got open space planning and greenway. Dan would have IT, or tech committee, conservation, community preservation, and housing. Okay. John's got the 5 finance-related ones. Okay, and then Cindy, Board of Assessors, Board of Health. Okay, and I'll pick up the building committees, COA Board, the grant committee, and master plan. So I think we're pretty much there. So I think we'll have to just double check on John on that appointment on the ZBA one, just to be sure on that, okay? Is that okay with everybody for now? Give it a whirl? All right. We'll see if we can make that.
Yes, it's okay, but for future thought, there may come a time, depending on how it shakes up, that we may want to make the town administrator our liaison to PPP. I mean, almost all the other members work here in town hall during the day anyways. So don't necessarily have to be night meetings. And I would say that he's more of the expert in HR, maybe after year one, you know, when some of these other projects get done, but that could be a way to work into, do we do that and modify the bylaw that makes the town administrator the chair?
Yeah, okay.
Just something to think about.
It's an idea, okay, yep. Yep, okay. Yeah, and I think, I mean, you feel okay with the ones that you've got? I know capital doesn't meet very often, so that's
Yeah,
not
well,
a
so
time sink.
capital, I really want to get that statewide plan
Okay.
into capital this year.
Okay.
And try and drag everybody along with me.
Okay, all right.
Am I-
Okay, well, let's give this a whirl.
Can I
Yeah.
just, am I missing parks?
There's no liaison to Park Commission.
Oh,
Yeah, so like I said, we
Okay,
pick
all right.
certain committees to be liaisons to. Parks,
Just the troublemakers.
yeah, well,
That's an important committee, that's why I asked, yeah.
I mean, we could have one to park, we don't have one. We could
Aren't you
have
on
one to
Parks?
Park Commission.
Or
I
you
was on
were?
Parks.
You were.
I dropped it because I have other town commitments.
You're an
There you
actual
go.
member of
Fair enough,
Parks, yeah. So it's a question, we could come back and take a look at that. Are you saying that you wouldn't mind being
No,
a
it's
liaison to
just-
that?
I think I got to accept my fair share of the committee assignments, so it's, if that's where you go, yeah. I'll do it.
Okay, well, let's pull back around and think about that one on the
Okay.
next meeting. If we
Okay.
need, we haven't had anybody be a liaison to Park, but we shall see, okay? All right, let's keep on rolling here. Thank you very much for all that. So I'm going to pick back up on the, just a issue that we brought up at the last, or I brought up at the last meeting about the ARPA application for the proposed sewer study, trunk study, that we had a proposal on from Ty and Bond, and the ARPA application that came in, which was up to $33,000. The actual amount needed is $30,700. And based on the last meeting, we went back and did some double checking, and you have a most recent financial report from Bradley in your emails. It's not one that gets printed out because it's got multiple tabs, but if you've had a chance to look at that, Bradley did make a correction. He there's a missing link, basically, when he was tying up his spreadsheets together. And so the water department has indeed paid out their two amounts on the water main, so that has been fully used. So there is no money left in the water project, whatchamacallit, ARPA report, ARPA application. And then what else did we have for a question? I think that was the main thing, if I'm not mistaken. We're still trying to figure out the school money on that as well, and that has been asked for again through the school.
Yeah, and it looks like there's like one issue there. Because I would expect a quarter of the salaries to be reserved because it's
Yeah,
July 1st to December of coming up. But there's that one line item where one teacher's position, almost the full amount, has been expensed.
yeah. It's a little, yeah, that's why I ended up giving them a list of all the actual award amounts, and I figured, they know who their people are, because they've had a few swap outs of teachers in those positions, so somebody ought to be able to just pull a payroll for person X and add it all up and figure out how much that person has been paid. But we'll double check in terms of where those really are. And I think, if you recall though, let's be clear, they had put in a request for for school year 25, John, and we did not act on it. We only acted through 24.
I thought well, maybe.
So I think,
remember, I'd have to go back, yeah.
Yeah, so they had put in for another 2 year, well, a year and a half of request, and we had pulled back on 25 and did not make any decision on that at that point in time. So this may get them through December possibly, but maybe not beyond that. I don't know offhand. Okay, so anyway, I have a proposal here to possibly use the balance that we have identified, which Bradley has identified around 33,000 currently available for reprogramming, and to be able to use 30,700 of it for this new request for the sewer study along the rail trail, to see whether anything is feasible to do this. So it's really just a feasibility study at this point in time. If anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer them, but you have a fairly detailed proposal that had been handed out last week, or last meeting, rather.
Right, and my question is, just to restate what I already asked,
Yep.
is there is a significant high interpretation that this will be sufficient funds to get to the point that we want to with this study?
For the study, yeah. In terms of all the area that has been mapped out that would be covered and the kinds of work that they're going to do, from what Stephen had said and working with the Ty and Bond folks, they're clear with the scope of work of what they will be able to do within that envelope of 30,700. It may end up that it shows us that it's not feasible to connect, but at least we will have explored that option, because I'm sure if it were feasible, then we've got another whole cost factor that I can't even imagine what it might be to try and do that. I know many years ago, there had been studies done about laying sewer line down College Highway itself, which I think either was both not terribly feasible, but also cost prohibitive. And I can't imagine this is going to be, this is not going to be chump change if it's even doable. But I think the idea was to take advantage of Ty and Bond doing the design work right now on the Greenway and making this a joint.
I'll make a motion to approve ARPA request number 53, not to exceed $31,000.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Any further discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. We will make that known. All right. Let's see. These are coming up later. Okay. So Scott, I think we're going to come back to you on the special town election and communication efforts that we would like to maybe undertake here. I know you've started some work on this. We do have to get, as I mentioned before, some correct information out and help people understand, because the actual ballot question itself is kind of generic, right? It doesn't give us a whole lot of real detail. So it's very important, I think, to have something that will explain it a lot better. So take it away.
Yep. So that's really because of Mass General Law and debt exclusions. They prohibit putting the amount in the question. I'm sure there's some logic behind it, but just working with town council, that's what they pointed out, because that was my first question, is why isn't the amount actually in there?
In there, yeah.
So for getting out the information, it's always a little bit of a balance, because we can't take one side or the other as a town. So we have to make sure any language that we use is very, very neutral, not persuasive, has to be factual. So the way that I wanted to get out some information was putting up a special town page or town website, which would be able to link to a lot of different information. Some of the stuff that we did at town meeting, the assessor maps, the purchase and sale once it's completed. Also put in the flyer that I did, a link to the DLS calculator, so with instructions on how people can actually calculate their specific impact.
Right.
As well as any other type of like geographic maps or GIS things. As well as linking any videos from the Senior Center and the Public Safety Building Committee as well, possibly talking about the land. So
as well as from the town meeting.
Yeah, public meeting. The other couple options that we had was to do a generic flyer that we could post somewhere, post on the website, but at least give people some basic information on how much it is, what the terms are, what land we're actually looking at purchasing. And then maybe even doing, some Facebook posts, but, I would even suggest maybe doing like a Facebook Live or where people can submit their questions online as we're at the property, and we can take that and then give it to Easthampton Media to post on YouTube and the website, and things like that. So there's a couple of easy ways that we can get the word out.
No, that all sounds good. I think, doing a mailer of some sort would be pretty cost prohibitive and so forth, but these sound like some good ideas, and, having things posted around, certainly around Town Hall, at the library, various other public places, businesses, would be good for people to take a look at, I think. Do you want to go through the draft of what you've started here? And I know it's still a work in progress, but thank you for taking the lead on this.
So just taking it from really other municipalities, this is like usually the format, or the FAQs is what they mostly use for explaining their public safety complexes, and they've had it actually posted on their website as well. I've also looked at different ways that they've gotten out information for charter changes or charter reviews as well. So this is just a basic FAQ. Just gives you the numbers, the 56 acres, the amount. There's a few question marks that we still have. I'm working with Jen just to get her interpretation of what the impact will be on the average single-family home in Southampton.
And we wouldn't be borrowing over 99 years, though.
No.
So there's figures.
That's where all my markups in math are. It was right in that paragraph.
So these are just some initial thoughts, but we got to go in and correct all the figures, right? Yeah.
One question, if you're just taking questions, if you're taking questions as we go, one question is, so in the section is how much will the land cost? You say negotiated the price of 2.2 million, but I read the second bullet in the by the numbers and it says up to 2.2 million, so my mathematical brain gets confused there.
Yep.
Is it up to, is it 2.2?
So the price of the land is going to be 2.2 million, but for example, if we had like some extra money that we could put towards it, we wouldn't need to borrow the whole amount.
Okay, so do we kind of tell people that somewhere? You make that clear? Or is that something we should make clear?
Well, let's go through paragraph by paragraph, yeah, so,
I think that's what the borrow up to
yeah.
shows the maximum potential impact, but then
I don't know why.
to your point, Dan,
Yeah.
if that's the price, then why aren't you going to do that? So maybe
Yeah,
borrow up to 2.2 million financed over X years, potential offsets to be applied first, something along those lines.
Yeah, because I know that came up in the Friends of the Council on Aging today, because they were prepared to spend money to acquire property, and unless I misunderstood, the idea was they may be applying that money towards this acquisition, if in fact they're building on that same large parcel, so maybe up to or something.
let's, go ahead, Scott, why don't you just go through each paragraph, and just go through it.
Okay.
So,
So the special election is just for the 56 plus or minus, and it explains what a debt exclusion is. I really wanted to keep everything to like one page, not too much. And we can add on the website, we can add more information.
I think it's important to have that definition of the debt exclusion versus what an override is. I think that's a question that people always need to have heard again. It's one that they ask a lot.
That's
Yeah.
good,
Yeah.
Can we open the polls for the people that work? It can be hard to go during the middle of the day, and 8 o'clock, or going late at night cannot be possible, but can we open them earlier in the day before work? We used to open them at noon is the only thing.
We can check. I don't know. Our town election usually is the noon to 8 p.m., and that's what we just did just now. I don't know if there's something that governs that time frame.
Well, I think,
Check with Lucy, yeah.
yeah, I think noon to 8, the state reimburses us
Yeah.
on those elections, so if we'd have to be out of pocket 100%
Yeah.
for those additional hours. But that being said, Chris, maybe, I know you said it, I just
Yeah.
was zoning out on something else. Are there going to be availability for mail-in ballots and/or early voting?
Mail-in ballots, yes, not early voting at this point. in
Mail-in
time.
ballot, so you could
Mail-in.
potentially come down, apply for a mail-in ballot,
Correct.
and then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mail-in ballots, to my knowledge, are going to be happening, but not early voting, right? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, good question though, Dan. Yeah, it's a tough one, I know. It's, it would mean that people would have to come right after work and vote. Yeah, it is, yeah. Okay, got it.
So trying to explain just the need for the land, obviously the public safety complex and the senior center, those are usually the top priorities, and the senior center building committee voted Tuesday to move forward with that, so that was important just to put in that. I know it's kind of a blank canvas right now, so there's a lot of different options, but I think it's also important to talk about some potential uses, just so that people don't get the misinformation that's just going to sit there vacant for 100 years, so.
Are you on what is the special election for?
Why does the town need the land?
Bottom of the first paragraph.
Oh, I'm still up on that one, because it says 56 acres, and then down in the ballot question, it says 52 acres, so I'm confused, want to make sure we have the same number.
Yeah.
So the assessors has it as 52, and all the surveys recorded in the registry have it as 56.
Which one is it?
plus or minus 4 acres.
Yeah, and oddly enough, the 4-acre donation is part of the 56, right?
Yeah.
So it could be, although that wouldn't have affected anything at the assessor's level, they wouldn't have even known anything about that. I mean, that just happens to be an even mathematical solution, but it doesn't really answer the question as to which one is right. I would think, wouldn't the deed have to be the
I
governing?
would lean towards the registered plans and the deeds, yeah.
And that was how much again, sorry?
56.
56.
So does that mean a ballot question should be corrected?
Well, council uses what we have on file with the assessors. not with the
Okay,
registry.
so it should match the assessors for that.
We could,
council.
yes, yeah.
I see.
Yep.
That's why I guess we have the plus or minus wiggle room in there. I mean,
Oh,
I guess, should we do 56 or 52 is the.
Yeah,
is
but the ballots
question.
are already out at, they've already been
Yeah.
sent for printing, right? So that can't be changed at this point in time.
Then maybe we should just say 52 in the other part too, because it's just, that's
Yeah.
confusing to me.
It is
Yeah.
confusing.
So maybe highlight those couple things that we might need to just, yeah,
And yeah, that one there too, yeah.
right, good point. And then just note your 99 and the up
Even if you
to.
put 52 plus. I mean, you've got plus or minus.
Yeah.
Well, you
Just color
never
them.
know what the next survey is going to bring.
Exactly. We'll know what we've got to go back and just double check on things. Yeah. So, good. Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
And then the property tax question, which I think is the biggest.
So my input on that, according to the DOR websites and the calculation tools out there, 2024, the average single home in Southampton is $420,828. I would assume that you're only going to borrow over a 20-year period. That means that the annual number is $110,000, right? If it's the full 2.2 divided by 20,
Yeah.
comes out to 1.1. That makes the average impact on a home in Southampton $42.08.
Yeah.
Or otherwise put, $10.52 a quarter.
Sounds better than 90 a year, yeah.
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 Or we had talked about it at one point at some point about also doing it like, the amount per $1,000 as well. That
Yep,
comes out
10
even
cents.
more, we're talking the number of cents per $1,000 kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a challenge when we get to borrowing, whether 10 or 20 years, honestly. I mean, 20 may be long for that. We've got to go long-term for the real construction money in the future. So the smaller amount here may not need to go a full 20 years.
I would suggest, if I'm still sitting here when we go out to finance this thing, is you get this at 20 years. After the first 5 years, you can't do anything the first 5 years. Year 6 through 20, you can do an accelerated payout. So when it's time, and it's going to take at least 3 years to build the whole thing. You got to wait till all your receipts are in to go through and do it. At that point in time, we're 5 years through the land, you'll wrap it all together and then issue one debt for the whole thing.
Yeah.
It makes it smaller payments while we're working things out.
True, that's true, yeah. Good idea.
Because we
So
still
all
got to buy a
that-
street sweeper.
Yeah, exactly. So all those kinds of things as we get to, the borrowing part of it, once we get
And-
past the acquisition.
Because I have the microphone for a second, this is exactly why the capital committee needs to adopt the state program, because it lays out the 5-year, every year rolling 5-year capital projects and plans, so you can layer in your debt, you can strategize and figure out, so when we're working on our budgets 2 years down the road, we already know what our debt number is going to be, to start plugging those in.
Yeah,
You know,
no, that would be great.
we got to start looking beyond the bend.
Don't disagree at all. Yep.
I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah, very good. Okay, go ahead, Scott.
So the next one is just addressing the senior center with the original Clark Street parcel. Just in case, I know there was some publicity around that, just in case anyone may have a question about why the original land wasn't really workable. And then
Question on that.
Yep.
I think this is the first place where you're mentioning, oh, no, I guess you say down, why does the town need this land? That's where you say, for the purposes of the public safety center, senior center. I found my answer, thank you.
And then the next one is the 2.2 million, so just to make sure that people are aware that it's the land, it's not the public safety complex and the senior center, so we're just buying the land. There's going to be future votes on the cost for the senior center or public safety or any major projects that go forward onto that, so. And then just a quick, what happens if it's approved or not approved? If it is approved, there's going to be a lot more homework that we're going to have to do in the future. There's going to be, potentially a lot more cost with the actual building of the complexes. And then if it isn't approved, I think everyone's pretty aware that there's a need for updated public safety complexes. So we just essentially have to go back out and find.
But I think we have to be clear on that. There is no other land to look for. They
Yeah,
have
that is
researched this, both committees have researched this for 2 years. They have looked at private and town-owned properties, and this is the only thing that meets the needs for location, topography, et cetera. I think we shouldn't give the impression that we're going to go still keep on searching. I mean, if we I mean, I know we're trying to be somewhat neutral, but that's the reality. There's nothing else that makes
factual.
sense.
And it's not just research, it's lots and lots, thousands of dollars spent on feasibility studies with experts as to prove that what you said is true.
Yeah. So I think we might want to tweak that answer a little bit
Stronger, yeah.
more, but, and also, what if it is approved? I mean, because we're talking about potential uses of it from certainly the public safety complex, now the senior center would like to go there. We've talked about senior/affordable housing, maybe some spillover for the parks fields. All of that would have to be part of an overall community engagement, site planning, land use planning process, and all of that is kind of something that we might want to just clarify a little bit more in there, that, the lengthy planning process will ensue, involving the community to, whatever, and a land use planner or whatever we call the person, firm, to do that. So I think that all has to be just a little bit more explanatory. But I really am cautious about saying, if it isn't approved, we'll go keep on looking for more land.
There isn't any.
No, I don't believe either committee would have the energy to go look anywhere else because they have exhausted it over.
Yeah, and it might just be currently there are no other identifiable parcels within the boundaries of Southampton
Quite true.
that would be suitable for this.
That meet the needs.
Reasonable, because we wouldn't want to put a police station at the edge of the town.
Right.
Just because geographically it doesn't make sense.
So I think we just have to
tried.
modify that a little bit.
Couldn't find it. Yeah, we couldn't find
Okay.
it.
And then will the land interact with the future greenway? Yeah.
So on that question there, I like the question, I like the answer and all that. I just, when, if you want to skip ahead just a little bit to the picture of the map on there, right there where you see, I mean, I know that's the railroad, the greenway, but like you did Cumberland Farms without the star, if you could type in the word proposed greenway,
Yeah.
so again, somebody looking at it, they see it, it's coming right through.
Yep. I can make that, I can put the Cumberland Farms logo and highlight things and do all that,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But to identify that the greenway is where it is, because people don't really realize maybe,
Right.
that is the railroad, rail trail right now.
So I have three things to suggest. One is a specific question that came to me. I asked Scott earlier today, why isn't the amount of money, he's already answered it, why isn't the amount of money actually put in the ballot? And it's because you can't. And I think that has to be in the frequently asked questions, because people are saying, what am I voting for if I don't have the actual money in the ballot question? That's one thing. Secondly, I do think it would be helpful if on your lovely banner across the top, special election information, you somehow insert the date of the special election. Granted, it's, 3 or 4 lines down on the left, but I think that's the banner. And the third question I brought up, because I've been on the Public Safety Building Committee for the beginning of this phase of it, we've never referred to it as a public safety complex, and I don't know why, and I don't know what people think here. We've been calling it a public safety building. So unless there's some reason why it shouldn't be called a public safety complex, I would recommend we call it a public safety building. It may be confusing. A complex seemed to imply something more grandiose than what.
Taj Mahal.
Well, we are avoiding that topic.
But no, but that's what complex.
It failed in.
I mean, the idea is
9 years
obviously
ago.
it's going to house both fire and police. It's
Well,
not just one or
right.
the other. So, yeah, I guess I don't know that. I mean, they'll be meeting on the 10th, but we want to get this done before then. But
That, I just know I've been admonished to not use the word complex, so.
But probably on that
Clerk
question,
on the
you
committee, but-
just ask the two chairs.
yeah, we can.
If they've
Yeah,
been
we
working
could-
on the messaging
I'd like
already.
to have it
Yeah,
done.
that's a
Sure.
good idea, Christina Madsen and Ian.
Yeah, just double check on that language. Sure. Dan, question?
I think I asked all my questions. I'm good.
Yeah. And so then just go down to your pictures there, Scott. That was just showing where it is on the road.
Is this, actually, I thought of another question.
Actually, I'm wondering, Scott, on so the left one is coming across from Dowd Insurance there, basically, where there's the crosswalk.
Yep.
The one on the right, I guess I'm wondering, would it be better to have one like out in the middle of the field rather than just, I'm not sure what we see in that photo.
Just because the picture, the continuation where that big tree is, right
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Just a little bit to show that. I probably should go a little further down to get that in.
Yeah,
there.
okay. Okay.
Just to show the bend, so people know.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You brought up earlier about ways of getting this out, and you said something about an interactive Facebook thing. Who's going to answer those questions?
I could probably get myself and probably one of the chiefs or the chair, or if any select board members would like to volunteer as well. So if some towns do a Facebook Live,
Yeah.
or YouTube Live, or and it's really just holding your camera up. But I mean, it's a good way, especially a lot of interactions online about where the conversations are. So it kind of encourage people that may not be able to. We had that meeting last month about the public safety complex building. But a lot of people may be working, or they may just have one quick question to help kind of dispel a lot of the myths as well.
I think it's a great idea. I just hope they're answered. People that know me know I don't do Facebook, but I do believe there's a lot of sort of negativity that comes out of these things. Yeah.
Would this be an acceptable, is this neutral enough that we can utilize the code red for the email distribution?
That's a good idea.
Code Red?
That I don't know.
Because we can use it for, it's for general
Yeah.
public updates and all that. So I mean, I don't know who to
We
ask.
do use
but-
it usually to announce
Elections.
election time, so it definitely,
So.
a Code Red can go out on the.
And if we can't send the document via email, could we mention in the voicemail, the automated phone call, for information, go to the website for a PDF doc or something?
Yeah,
Direct
the
people.
trouble is that Code Red usually goes out kind of late. I mean, it goes out right.
You pick the time.
Yeah, well,
That was it.
but it goes out, yeah. Usually we do it like 2 or 3 days before an event, but okay, maybe there's some thoughts there. I mean, I think, doing something, like Cindy said, not everybody too is on Facebook. I mean, there's those that are not even on the internet, then there's those that are not on Facebook. But at least if there was both Facebook and maybe YouTube, I think people, if they weren't on Facebook, they could probably find YouTube or something pretty easily to do that.
And we can embed it in the website as well.
Yeah, or something. So I think that could be
Looks
a
good.
good idea. Yeah, so I think it's a good start, so we can get this kind of tweaked out.
I just want to know how you're going to print it in color. On
Well,
a color printer.
certain people apparently have color printers around
They're
here.
hiding them.
Yeah, there's 1 or 2 among certain departments apparently that have a color printer.
That's going to be a lot.
But we can, I'm sure we can, if we need to print out, 20 copies to post around town somewhere, we can certainly afford managing that up at Paradise Copies or somewhere else.
The other option, when the PDF is ready, if you send it to me, I can send it out through the parental email blast through Norris as a communication on behalf of the town. And then,
I think the Greenway Committee has a pretty big
Yeah.
email network, and human beings like myself, if we can just forward these out.
Yeah, I think once we get it done, so
Yep.
in addition to, sending it out or posting it however we can, but relying on all of us with our various networks to get it out as an email attachment to various people, because I think if nothing else, people will take a look at their emails perhaps, and that would be great. Okay, any further thoughts? Is there another so Cindy mentioned a question or two that might be added to this, if we can all squeeze it in and not make it look too busy. Is there anything else that you think would be I know there's been a couple of comments back and forth on town media. Do we need to clarify anything? I mean, we tried to clarify the issue of the donation. That had been a confusing point, and I think
Yes.
I had tried to clarify that at the town meeting, that yes, indeed, we do have a donation of 4 acres from the LaBreeze, but that by itself was not going to be a feasible option because it was going to be landlocked. And there's no way that we as a town could accept a landlocked parcel, which is why we had to go for the idea of buying an acre access to the donation. So I don't know if there's a way we might need to say something more about
no.
that, but I don't know.
I think it
mean,
just makes it more confusing. I
It may
mean,
be
to
more
me,
confusing. I don't know.
that's why I thought it was 52 and 56.
Yeah, no,
Because I
exactly.
thought they were still donating the 4, and we were purchasing the remaining 52.
Basically, that is.
How we get to the 56 number.
That is true. I mean, that is basically what's happening. Yeah, there's still 4 acres being donated out of this entire parcel. So our purchase actually is basically 52 2, but we will own all 56,
So
if that
maybe if
makes
you make
any
that
sense
52.
whatsoever. But go
Yeah.
ahead, Dan.
So I assume we have a select board meeting between now and this vote. Would it make sense for us to put out to the town any, the request for any questions they have, and we could have as our agenda for the next meeting some time to address the town people for those questions, and anything, anybody wants to come here to talk about that specifically, we could use that as a time
We can do that, and I think we can also do it, we can make a, either the, whichever, the town administrator page or the current select board page, we can have that, people can write into those addresses and make that a question and answer, or at least receive the questions. We might have to, I don't know if you can respond to them, but you can at least receive questions from the public on our town email addresses on those web pages. So we can take a look at that option too. I think that would be a good idea.
So I asked a question.
And we're looking at getting a news article done in the Gazette, which hopefully the reminder might pick up too at some point. But yeah.
I'm sorry. So I asked a question at a previous, last select board meeting about what constitutes passing it, and you said a simple majority of the people that vote. Do you think it would be helpful to get that question and answer on this, or is that kind of not necessary? Maybe not.
I don't know, I feel like this has a lot of stuff on here.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people are, that doesn't.
Yeah, it needs to be, easily read and understood without, making too many
Sure.
issues, but,
Well, so on Cindy's point, though, that if you wanted to do that, that could be easily obtained just the same way we do our town meetings, right? You just add one line underneath, go to the other side, simple majority needed, or 3/4.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea,
yeah.
yeah.
you just
It's
put
what
that up.
folks are used to seeing.
Yeah, you'd have room right above that line or something, maybe to add that in there, something like that. Sounds good. All right, thanks, Scott, for taking the lead on this, and
Very
we'll,
good, yeah.
we'll work at getting it tidied up, and I think, today is already the, what day? Yikes.
4th.
Today's the 4th.
It's almost
so
the 5th.
What shall we think about? You think we can try to get it out by Monday-ish, Scott? What do you think? 10th?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, probably next day or two.
Yeah, okay, all right, great.
The website and everything.
We'll see what we can pull together, yeah. Good, all right, well, thank you for that. All right, next up, any other business that can't wait until the next regular June, that's the wrong date, not June 4th, our next regular meeting, which is actually June 18th, but we've got a couple more things coming up here, so we'll get back to those in a minute. That was wrong on that agenda. Where's that agenda? So we have before us, we got a note from Jen, our treasurer, about signing off on a loan renewal. Let's see, hang on a minute. Just a second. It's a municipal loan renewal, and Jen was going to make the documents available. We don't have them tonight, but I'll just, my understanding is we could, from what you've told me, Scott, we can discuss this, vote on accepting the renewal or not, and then I think we all have to sign it. It's not just me, I think everybody has to sign it. So let me just give an idea. So this is a loan renewal anticipation for, let's see here, $1,970,422. And it would be for a loan on the Garska Bridge, on 2 highway pieces of equipment, I believe one of the trucks and the loader, the front-end loader, that would be going out for renewal, and the proposed, I guess the winning bidder, so to speak, has been Greenfield Cooperative Bank, with an interest rate of 4.55 per annum. And this would be a one-year renewal? Is that what I'm understanding right now?
Yep.
Okay, and John pointed out, we do have one thing that's wrong on the renewal anticipation serial loan document that we have to sign, Scott. If you look at here, it says votes of the town that passed on October 22, 2019, June 7, 22, and December 14, 2024.
The reference December 2024 hasn't happened yet.
Yeah,
Either that
so
or I'm
December-
very late for my Christmas shopping.
So, so I don't know if that's supposed to be referencing approvals
Supposed to
at
be
town
the-
meeting, I would
Yeah,
assume.
it's supposed to be the 23rd, so whoever's going to make the motion, I would suggest they amend the motion
Right.
to first correct all those dates, because it repeats all the way through.
Yep.
And then once those proper documents are presented, we could release our signatures.
So I don't know much more than that. Does anybody have any questions? And we'll have to take a vote. So it is on the third or fourth page of the documents that you got in your package. I can just get that more clearly. So the amount authorized, the amount authorized for East Street Bridge borrowing apparently was $1.6 million. The loader was $231,000 and the dump truck was $294,000. And that had been the previous issues. Some pay downs have happened. So now what we need to do for the renewal, getting rid of some of the total amount had been borrowing at 2,125, and now we've paid off some of that. So now we're down to the 1,970,422. But again, the dates on that dump truck one are wrong at 12/14/24. So we need to be sure that all these get corrected before we sign off on this, but.
So I'll make a motion to accept the lowest offer of the offering of $1,970,422 that took place on May 29th, 2024, and acknowledge the low bidder being Greenfield Cooperative Bank at 4.550%. And that the body is authorized to sign off on that once the dates and all the legal documents relating to the dump truck have been corrected as they currently state through the entire document, 12/14/2024 right now. And I assume that really means 23.
Okay. All right, we have a motion. Could I have a second on that? Second. Dan? Okay. Any further discussion on that? Okay. So all that, we will take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. So then what we will do is have these documents ready, and I believe they have to be into the state by
I think the 10th, by
June
the 10th, she's got
June
them
10th, I
filed.
believe. So once they're ready, Scott, you just send a note out to all of us that the corrections have happened, and people can pop down over the next couple of days and sign. And I think, this one does not need a notarization, it just needs,
Town seal.
just the town seal on it, which Sabina can do. That's my understanding, right? Okay, I think we're squared away with that, and hopefully that will help Jen get that one taken care of on time. Perfect. All right, next couple things up. Anything update on old business? Maybe a little bit on the Green
Well,
Community Grant?
do we
I'm
still
sorry.
have other business?
We do, on the back page, yep.
No, things that can't wait.
Oh, I'm sorry, more things that can't wait, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes, I just want to bring up one item
Yep, thank you.
as soon as I find it here.
Yep.
That make the other members of the board aware that we've been notified by the chair of the Hampshire Regional School Committee that there's been a failure to elect two posts at Hampshire Regional, and that under the 1966 agreement, in order to fill the vacancy, it requires the work of this body and of those elected Southampton town residents on Hampshire Regional, plus the one appointed from Norris Hampshire Regional, to name two individuals to finish, and there's a clock running.
So this would be two individuals from Southampton to fill out a one-year position until the next election.
And that, I would suggest tonight, maybe we place a call for volunteers to fill out the applications through the town administrator as traditionally done.
Okay.
If anybody interested, and I cannot stress enough that the Southampton bodies on the Hampshire Regional collectively as a whole have a 55% vote. Nothing can happen if the group of voters from Southampton are united in what they're doing. So those two seats being open causes an issue for us to fall below the 55, and this is not a time with the way central office is at Hampshire Regional to leave those seats empty.
Can you remind us who are on the committee? Do you know the names of who's on the committee? Who's the Norris representative? Is that,
The Norris is Margaret Larson.
okay,
And also, this also says that the other 4 Norris people cannot hold both seats. Only one can.
so there's only one from Norris. I
Yeah,
believe.
I know Carol Barkham
Right.
is back on. And actually, I didn't look at the results if Jerry, Ian stayed. All right, I'd have to go back and look at it. but
Yeah,
there's-
okay, I'm not
It was
sure.
Kim Schott and Margaret Larson's seats that didn't get filled.
Okay, so we have 5 people on Hampshire Regional? Or?
There are 5 elected and 1 from Norris. There's 6 bodies.
Yeah. So, and right now, we only have probably,
4.
yeah, okay. Okay.
Do you happen to know of anyone who has expressed interest or who you believe we could approach?
I don't. No, I tried before the election, but
Okay. So especially anybody out there who's a parent of an HRHS kiddo, that would be really very, very helpful if you would decide to get involved and be part of this whole process. I think it really is important, as John says, given the issues that we've had up at the regional this year in terms of the finances and the changes that are ongoing with the business office, the superintendent, et cetera, we need to keep our eyes on that ball very closely, so.
Can it be a teacher who happens to reside in this town? Or an employee of the system who happens to reside in this town?
do they, if they teach at Norris,
If they teach at Norris, they
it
could...
would be all right, but at Hampshire, they'd have to recuse from a lot of things because they
I see.
couldn't vote on their contracts
That's
or,
why I'm asking. Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so the call is out, so please try and get that. Do we have a time frame when we really need to have this filled, per what they were telling us here, or?
No, I think all eyes are on filling the superintendent's role right now, so.
Yeah, right, okay.
But
So we'll keep a call out on that. So please just go to the town website, go to the volunteer page. There's a volunteer form. Fill it out, attach a cover letter and/or your CV, whichever is easier, most likely a cover letter, and get it into Judy's Adonis at Scott's office. And then we'll pick them up as appointments going forward. And same thing, I'll put out a call too. It's on the website, but we really do need to get it going, is the actual housing trust. That's one where we have really dropped the ball in terms of establishing the staffing there. That is a 5-person trust with 1 person from Select Board and then 4 people from the community. And we really need to have...
Have we got anybody yet?
We have
Chris?
nobody right
Okay.
now. So
Can I go back to the one about Hampshire Regional and ask if somebody has specific questions about what's involved and frequency of meetings, et cetera, is there a person they should be calling? Or,
I can talk to them, or I know Kim Schott or Margaret Larson would
Kim or
be
Margaret or
available.
John?
Okay.
Any of the
So
above?
there's- And they're listed on the website, right?
Yeah, but Kim and Margaret both sit on the Norris School Committee.
Okay, so there are people.
Yeah. So I think that would be good, but just on the housing trust one, let me just pull that up for a second. Let me find that a minute. I had it for a second here. I lost it now. So this is one, we started looking for this probably back last fall, and we haven't gotten very far on that, but it's our fault that we've kind of let that drop. So we do need to do that, and I'm trying to find the qualifications we had here. Hang on a minute. Of course, I can't find it right now. Ah, there it is. So we were basically, the trust must have a minimum of 5 trustees, including 1 member of the select board and 4 qualified residents who bring to the trust relevant personal or professional experience, knowledge or interest in real estate, finance, affordable housing, banking, architecture, social services, or the like. So that is also on our town website. So please, anybody who's got some interest there in terms of affordable / senior housing, depending on how that all gets defined, please reach out. And if you've got questions, just reach out first. Don't have to worry about filling out your application. We'll get you somebody to talk to, and hopefully you can put on your volunteer shoes, okay? So with that. Okay, if nothing else on other items that can't wait, let's keep on moving. We had a couple more things under old business. I'm not sure anything happening on the East Street update at this point in time, where I think they're still working on their survey and doing all of that work. The Green Community Grant, are we kind of moving along there now? Better?
Yes, every day I'm getting a new DocuSign, but I just got one today for transferring the funds to the energy resources, and Eversource has approved it, but all of them are now at the state level for approval. Chris Mason, I just have to give his final approval for it. And then
For all four of them, all at once? Okay, that would be great. We definitely would like to get these underway, because I don't know what it's going to take for the procurement to, is it it's not Eversource, who does the work? Would we have to contract out?
Yeah, it'll be the energy resource.
Oh, the ones that did the survey or whatever?
Right, yeah, the initial proposal.
Okay. Good. How about the assistant accountant recruitment?
I think we're going to probably advertise for one more week, but we've got some really good candidates that have submitted their applications. Some with municipal experience, some with accounting experience, some with business experience.
Great.
Some retired, some active, so it's a pretty good pool.
Good. Very good. Okay. And it's not on the agenda, but do you know anything about the treasurer's office recruitment?
They are fully staffed as of yesterday.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
It was
Okay.
Angie's first day, I think Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday was her first day.
Okay. All right, we will get to meet them at some point in time. Hazard mitigation plan update process, this is something that's going to be starting, I noticed in your report, you said on June 21st, thereabouts?
Yeah, I was just texting with the fire chief. Fire chief's going to take the lead on that, but I talked to fire chief, police chief.
Yeah.
We just got to find a chance to get together and talk to Mimi at the PVPC.
Okay, that sounds great. That needs to get going, yep.
On that, the fire chief, how are we, if we don't know the answer, that's fine, this can wait till another meeting, but I'd be curious to know where he is on hiring those 2 permanent full-time paramedics.
Right. Can find that out for the next...
Even if that's a written response, just
Sure, yeah.
what's it look like, what's the
Good to know.
timeline?
Yep, very good. Yeah, no, that's great. So PVPC will be helping us with the update, and again, that is usually, there's several of the department heads that are involved in that process, so I can forward you the actual breakdown if I didn't already, Scott, in terms of who's supposed to be involved in that. I forget if I gave it to you or not. Okay, next up, I think we have licenses and permits.
Motion to approve one-day beer and malt for Cynthia Slattery, June 30th, 2024, Conant Park, 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. for the Hoyle Post Office picnic.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Motion to approve one-day beer and malt for Susan Regali, July 7th, 2024, Conant Park, noon to 8 p.m. family party.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, both are approved, very good. Not sure if we have any other documents right now that need signature, Scott? We've got,
After the meeting, just the paint.
oh yeah, the
paint signature.
right, the paint recycling one that we had last week. We just need to sign off on that document. And then I guess there's, coming up on the calendar, so we've got a couple of things that are not mentioned. Our regular select board meeting is June 18th. However, in the meantime, Scott, you've set up an audit meeting
For the 17th.
for the 17th, and that's going to be in person at 6:30.
Yes.
Joint with the Finance Committee, and we'll have the auditor come in and go through the 2022 audit report, okay? And then, I hate to tell us this, but we do need a mini meeting on June 11th, and we can figure out how best to do that, but there's 2 agenda items that I'm aware of now, which is, one is to sign off on the transfer station fees for FY25. We talked about them when Randall presented his budget, but we didn't formally approve the fee changes for the transfer station. And then we have to sign the purchase and sale agreement and the deed for the Garfinkel property, which we did the conservation restrictions on tonight. So they will have that, and that is, again, one of those things that's it's a deadline by the state that they have to submit certain documents. So those we could do if we can do it in person. If not, we could probably arrange a Zoom for the 11th. I don't know what anybody's pleasure is.
Do you need the signature?
We need signature on the
So I would say just have it on the 11th, but make it a 50, don't put anything else on that agenda.
No, just those two things, yep.
Yeah, I know you, Chris.
I no, we've got many other appointments to do, but we'll push those off until the 18th, I think, or the 17th and 18th. We'll have those, we'll have some departmental transfers, we'll have other things to do. But I would like to be able to sign off on the purchase and sale and the deed for that property on the 11th. And so we could make a short meeting, make it 6 o'clock and we're out of here, 6:30?
6:15, 6 to 6:15.
Yeah. Well, okay, we'll try. Cindy, yes.
I actually scheduled an almoners meeting for that evening. We can't make it start at 6:15, can we? Or shall I just change the almoners meeting for that night?
We'll be done very quickly. It's really just,
Well, the almoners meeting is at 5:30, so that's all. But if,
I'm fine with 6:15.
is
Yeah.
it possible?
Get out at
I'm
6:30.
sorry, or else start the meeting without me and then I'll come in at
well,
6:15.
let's go 6:15, okay, on the 11th.
Okay.
All right, 6:15 on the 11th. 6:30, audit meeting on the 17th with Finance Committee, and then our regular meeting on June 18th, and then our special election on June 25th. And Scott, you're still working out with Finance Committee on the meeting to present the classification and compensation plan to Finance Committee, so you're still working at a mutual date with them, right?
I think a few people just thought it was the one meeting that I was
Oh, I see.
referring to.
Oh,
so.
okay, yeah, we got two separate meetings for them. Well, yeah, okay, we'll figure that out. All right, I think that's all we have for tonight, guys.
Motion to
Anything else?
adjourn?
Second.
I think we have a motion and adjournment. Any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we are adjourned at 7:35. Thank you. Thank you very much, people. Don't forget to sign things.